Good morning to you. It is 8 o'clock on the start of your Monday morning. It feels like it's 10 o'clock
Feels
on
like
a
90
Friday.
o'clock.
Boy,
Yeah.
have we been running around this morning.
We have been running.
It has been a crazy morning. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on Second Cup right now. Okay, so Ed's obviously off this week.
He's off this week. Probably just waking up, having a little breakfast, kicking his feet up.
We're also down a producer. Now, it just keeps us really busy because it's like vacation time, so people are obviously taking the time. And then, of course, we get this massive 2-alarm fire that breaks out this morning in the city of Buffalo. So we're going to talk about that. It's at the Old Pink. Did you see? We were actually taking Skywatch ahead of weather.
Yeah,
and we go to the shot, and I'm like, oh, it's hazy. I go, what is that? It's smoky. Is that smoke? We can't tell what it is. We didn't know. Well, it turns out it's this massive 2-alarm fire at the Old Pink right in Allentown on Allen Street. So these firefighters were fighting that all morning long. It was pretty wild. So then we sent Adam Campos to the scene, and he's with us this morning. Adam, I want to say good morning to you, and I'm going to bring you in right now so we can actually hear you. I'm going to plug myself into the computer so I'm able to hear you too. Adam, all right, talk us through. You get there this morning. Let's talk about what you saw as soon as you got there and what these firefighters were dealing with.
Yeah, hey, good morning, everybody. I just want to be sure you guys can hear me, right? Because my earpiece is different today. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
We got you.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so when I got here, as I was driving up, like you said, we saw the fire first on Skycam, and as I was driving up, I could see the smoke running for a few blocks down from where the fire was at. And when I got here, the smoke was still really heavy. The fire was still really heavy in the back of the building. And I actually just spoke to a witness who saw the fire started. So the fire actually started right here in this back corner of the building. And from there, firefighters were he said the firefighters were kind of addressing it just to see where it would go. And then it quickly just spread throughout the entire building. And as you can see, all the damage. And right now, we actually just got the chance to finally speak to the fire chief just a short time ago. He tells me, good news, no injuries, no one was inside the building when the fire first started, and workers were actually leaving when they arrived. But the bad news, the building is lost, and as we know, the Old Pink, it's an iconic bar here in Allentown. And as I was actually speaking to more people and they were talking about the specialty behind it, I actually saw an article in 2023 from a site called Hop Culture. It named the dive bar one of the top 24 dive bars in the U.S. And as I was speaking to more people around the neighborhood that live here in Allentown, they just described this as a huge loss. So summary, no injuries, nobody was hurt in this. There was nobody inside the building, but the building is lost.
Okay, yeah, this is a bar that so many people have visited. If you grew up in Western New York, if you went to college in Western New York, a really popular one, right at the corner of Allen and Mariner there. Adam, the firefighters were on scene. What did the chief tell you about fighting this fire? We saw them putting just a ton of water on it. This thing was up in flames.
Yeah, so the toughest thing about this fire that they said is the fact that they were not able to fight this from inside. As you see them right now, they're on the lifts. As you can see, that's how they've been fighting the fire this entire time. And just recently that they were actually able to get into this little closet. But for the most part, they were not able to get inside to fight this. And actually, I want to bring up a text that I just got from a witness who sent me more footage. He said, my wife saw it started around 5:30 this morning in her office, and she saw the fire start, called 911, and came running to tell me to move my car because the car was actually parked over here. And when he moved it, that's when the flames just came up. So a lot of people had saw the fire from this back angle right here, and people saw the smoke. But at first, it wasn't a major response because it just seemed like a small fire. But because of how quickly it went through the building, that's when fire crews had to respond a lot quicker, and then they had the difficulty of getting inside.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And you know what, John, can we pull that video up that you just had up? Because, so this video that John's showing you, and we'll keep Adam's shot up here because it kind of puts it in perspective. So this is what it looks like, probably around like 6 o'clock or so. I'm being a little generous with the time. And then on the left bottom screen is what you're seeing right now. But this video on the right-hand side of your screen is from a witness who Adam ran into, and he interviewed him on air this morning. And Adam, tell us what he told you. He heard a fire truck and went outside and saw just small flames, right?
Yeah, so he just came out and he said he just saw he heard the fire truck, so he came out, just wanted to see kind of what was happening because he was getting ready for work himself. And he said it just started off as a small fire, and the crews were there. They were kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and then all of a sudden the fire just took over onto the second floor. And I spoke to another witness who also lives behind the house. He said the same thing. He said that the fire started on the first level and then just made its way up to the second level. And then another witness who also lives right here on this side street, I'm be honest, what is it? Yeah, Mariner Street. He also said the same thing, and he actually sent in footage. We have that. Hopefully we can pull that up in a little bit, but he showed the fire starting in this back corner right here, and from there it just took over.
Yeah, again, this is a place that a lot of people have been over the years. I had friends who lived right at the corner of Allen and Mariner.
They were probably there a lot then.
They sure were. I know. And, it's hard to see something like this happen to, a business that was really kind of a part of our community for such a long time. Adam, somebody was wondering, and I'm assuming the answer is yes, since they were told there was a total loss, right? Connie was wondering if they're going to be knocking this building down.
They didn't say anything about knocking it down. They still got to undergo the investigation, and they have investigators on scene right now. But they're still just trying to knock out the rest of the fire. It seems like I said, they've been having these high lifts here since we got here. So there's no word of whether they're going to knock it down yet or not. But all we do know is that the building is lost.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, again, if it's a total loss, then maybe eventually they will get to that phase. But of course, they have to do an investigation first. Again, we have no information.
They're still out there battling.
Yeah. They're still making sure there's no hot spots or putting water on the rest of the fire. We don't know what exactly caused this yet. So that'll all be part of this. But boy, those firefighters were busy this morning, and it was hot out there. We're going to talk about that heat coming up. First, Adam, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Maybe we can keep Adam's live shot there. I do want to show you, though, how Aaron and I saw this fire.
Okay.
Because we mentioned that we saw it on Skywatch. So John's going to bring in that video from Skywatch. Here, Aaron and I were at the top of the 6 o'clock show. We take the shot of Skywatch, and we're both like, what's that? What is that? So we've got that video for you. John's going to pull that in so you can check it out. And you're going to look to the left-hand corner of the screen. You're going to see exactly what we saw, which had us going, what is that? City of Buffalo this morning. It is a hazy look. I'm trying to see, what is that that's in the, see that like little streak thing? What is that? I can't tell if it's smoke.
And that's what I was talking about.
I don't know.
Earlier.
Anyways, we'll take a look at that. But either way, it is a hazy start to the day. And my point, before I saw that and got distracted, is that, thank you for understanding. Okay, so there we go. We were, looking at Skywatch. We see, and it's smaller here in the studio, too. So it's hard to see what it actually is.
I think there was a light on our lens, too, because you really couldn't tell what that was. But then I went over and I did the weather at the green wall, and I just see kids running back and forth. And looking at Skywatch and trying to get to the bottom of what was going on. And then we came out and you're like, well, there's definitely a fire. Yeah. And then we followed it all morning for you. And there's the outcome of it, which is crazy.
So, Adam, I want to just ask you one more question from one of our cuppies, because Peter's wondering if any other buildings got damaged.
So, as of right now, no other buildings got damaged. And I also saw that somebody asked if Allen was closed. Allen is closed right now from Elmwood Street to Hudson Street. So that whole block with Mariner and these other side streets, all from there, it's closed. But no other buildings were damaged. Like I said, you can see right here, this is the closest house by it. Nothing was damaged here. It was all with the building, with the old pink. So that's also another good point, that no other buildings were damaged.
All right. Yeah, Adam, thank you. We appreciate you being out there and reporting for us this morning.
Definitely.
Always.
All right. Very good. So there you go. That was a fire at the old pink on Allen Street. And we're going to keep covering this for you. The information we have right now is that nobody was hurt. The building fire crews tell Adam is probably a total loss. The crews are still on the scene. You saw them putting water still on the building right now. Allen is closed from Hudson all the way to Elmwood. So that's a big part of a lot of
an area you want to avoid this morning. I mean, they're still putting water on this fire to make sure there's no hot spots, like you mentioned. So it could be closed off for quite some time. And then they've got to do the investigation on the building as well.
Right. Okay, so here's something we started thinking about this morning too, right? We're not quite to that super duper heat that we're going to see later this week, but here it's a warm morning, and now we've got these firefighters out there fighting a fire and all this gear. They got to be dying.
It was so muggy this morning. It was in the low 70s when they were out there at 6 a.m. I mean, now we're climbing quickly. We're going to be close to 80 degrees shortly, and our high today will hit 90 degrees. Interestingly, our high will be 90, which will be shy of the record for today. Miami, 88 degrees for a high temperature today, and our temperatures will be hotter than Miami all week long. They'll be hovering in the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees, but we'll see temperatures, even warmer than that. Now, Buffalo, Tampa, and Naples, Florida, their record all-time high, 99 degrees. Miami and Fort Lauderdale have records of 100. Miami and Fort Lauderdale have only reached 100 degrees one time. Buffalo has never topped out at 100. Here's what it's going to feel like today in the low to mid 90s. Tonight, really not any relief from the heat. And then tomorrow, we're in the mid to upper 90s, close to 100 degrees with the heat advisories in effect. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, drink plenty of water.
Oof.
I tried to read a comment real quickly. It's
Yeah.
a Gatorade 2. We'll talk about that in a second. Tomorrow, 94, the heat index close to 100, so light colored, loose clothing.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, well, you want to limit your activities for the next few days. If you're outside, stay out of the direct sun. Take plenty of breaks if you do have to work outside. And just be mindful. If your head starts to hurt, your mouth starts to get really dry, your skin starts to get a little clammy,
Yeah.
you're getting dehydrated, slow it down, find a shady spot, because heat-related illnesses are no joke, and you want to be careful.
You were blowing my mind with that statistic about Florida. I
Oh.
totally would have thought that Florida had more, some spots in Florida had more than 100-degree days.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
No, not Key West has never topped out at 100. Honolulu has never hit 100 degrees.
And how hot do you think we'll get here?
94 on Tuesday.
94 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't get any breeze off the lake, you could go a little bit higher.
Okay.
I mean, the ground's getting pretty dry. We've got one of the largest areas, strongest, I should say, areas of high pressure sitting over the eastern U.S. on record. So who knows? I mean, will we hit 100? Most likely not. But it's going to feel like it's 100 with the heat and the humidity.
And then again, as far as record breakers go, which days?
Wednesday looks definitive. If I were a betting person, I would say Wednesday. The record high is 90. The forecast high, 93. The record high today, 94. The record high tomorrow, 95. So we're going to come close to those records. But definitely the record that I would say is most in jeopardy would be the one on Wednesday.
Jeanette says, you guys are hotter than us in the Bahamas right now.
Yeah.
Hotter than the Bahamas.
Hotter than
That's what we like to
Bahamas,
hear.
Hotter than South Florida. We are really, into the heat today.
Shirley saying, thank goodness for AC. Robin says it's breezy right now by the water, and she's enjoying every minute of this.
Yeah, you know what? When I went outside to do the weather at 6:30, you could feel a little bit of breeze coming in off the lake. The lake's 65 degrees. I mean, it's going to warm up quickly this week, but right now it's at 65. So if you're by the lake shore, I mean, the lake acts like a giant air conditioning system for areas right along it. So Buffalo will be a little cooler today, but as the week moves along, all that heat and humidity really starts to build.
All right, Lori's got a question that I think I can help answer. How many community pools are open? Tonawanda's got a pool open. Kenmore's got 2 pools open. Those are for residents. And then in Buffalo, they do have 2 pools open, but they're indoor pools.
And the splash pads are opening too.
But check that out.
Okay.
You've got 10 splash pads open. They're starting at 11 today, and they're staying open until 8. And that's starting today. So this is earlier than they really anticipated to be bumping up these hours.
That's nice too, because the kids get out early all week, except if you're taking an exam in high school. So you get to get out early and run around the splash pad. Again, with sunblock on, sunscreen, really put that on pretty heavily over the next several days, because you could get burned pretty quickly. And we talked a lot about pets. You might want to walk them this morning or very later today. That pavement will warm up very, very quickly, so the little paws could get burned. And do not leave your children or your pets in a closed car for any length of time.
I know.
Even at 90 degrees, in 10 minutes, that car will get to 120. So just don't do that.
Yeah, no, and it's
a common sense thing, but sometimes you're running around and you forget stuff. It happens. So just be mindful of what's going on, because it's so hot. Maybe you're not thinking clearly. Do not leave your kids or your pets in the car.
Yeah, such an important thing. I'm glad that you mentioned too walking our animals, because realistically, it might just be the day that we play with them inside today.
Yeah, I mean, they're all furry. They don't want this heat either. And sometimes you see them at like events. If there's an event later today, you don't have to bring your pet to it, as they're not going to be comfortable. But their little paws are going to get all burnt on the blacktop. Yeah. And, your water, if you forget to go in water.
Right.
We do these parades sometimes. I feel so bad for the dogs that are just looking. I remember having to water a lot of dogs on some of the parades we've been in.
Yeah. It just depends on the heat. Like something like today, you would never want to bring your dog to, it's just too
all
hot.
Week. Just be mindful that the heat doesn't just impact you, but it impacts your pets.
Yeah, for sure. Danielle says West Seneca Public Schools have full days Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, let's talk about those Regents exams and the kids that are taking them this week. So we really feel like, honestly, I just feel for them as far as it goes. Like, we know their specific days. This is kind of like little heat wave here.
It's definitely a heat wave. It's, we're in it. And if you have the exam, bring a water bottle. You could always bring a little washcloth that's cool and put it on the back of your neck if they allow that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll have the fans going. I remember taking
Sure they will.
Regents exams where the fans were just going.
Yeah.
So you had to make sure your papers didn't blow away. But, best of luck to you. If you are prepared, hopefully the heat won't impact you because you already know all the
Right.
answers.
And so we do know the Buffalo Public Schools are letting the little kids out pre-K through 8th grade. They're going home half days. They're getting lunch first and then they go home, which I love.
And then go to the splash pad.
Exactly. Then go to the splash pad, cool down. Jeanette says, listen, go buy a cheap sprinkler if you don't have one. No shame sitting outside in a chair, letting it soak me through in shorts and a shirt.
Oh, okay.
My brother and his friends a couple weeks ago when it was warm, they were over at the one kid's house and they bought like a baby pool. And of course, there was a toddler there. Like, I'll give them credit for that.
They had that.
But I think the baby pool was mostly for the dudes that were just like sitting there like, yeah, we're playing with the kid. Right. And they're having a cocktail and here goes this kid in and out. Yeah. But it was really cute. Let's see here. Lauren says, listen, we never got sent home for the heat. We had to sweat it out at school.
Yeah.
I remember those days too. Man, the uniforms, they were a little toasty.
Oh my goodness, that's right. That's right.
Now, Barb's got a good idea for those of us who have dogs. Fill a Kong with some chicken broth. You can freeze it. It makes a great doggy popsicle.
Oh,
that's a nice idea. Take it outside because that's going to be a hot mess all over your house.
Yes.
Been there as it's like melting on the floor. You're like, no, get this outside. Kelly says, hey, I brought a sprinkler for my grandkids to visit over the weekend. I'm going to be using it for myself this week.
We used to put the sprinkler under the trampoline. And then water would come through it and make it jump and get cool at the same time.
Yeah. Kim has an important point, and I think something you were kind of mentioning too, people with breathing problems. And not only is it the heat, but we had some air issues.
We have the air quality alerts that is in effect right now through 11 p.m. today. So air quality alert in effect for the entire area. So the air quality will obviously be poor, and you have that alert in effect for all of Western New York except for Allegheny County. So like you mentioned, Kim, people that have heart or breathing problems or asthmatics, you want to take it very close. Don't forget your inhaler today, as we do have that air quality alert. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the heat advisory in effect for all of Western New York, where the heat indices will be close to 100 degrees. So you have the air quality alert, the heat advisory. We're really just trying to remind you. It's more, a lot of common sense, but we don't deal with this heat all that often.
Right.
I mean, yesterday was in the mid 80s, warmer today, and then just hot for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're talking near record warmth. And when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel very uncomfortable. So just take it slowly and take it easy.
So I have a question about the air quality alert. What does that come from? That might be a stupid question, but is it?
It's the state issues it. So,
but is it like particles in the? What is it?
Like particles. You answered it. Like the particles in the air. There's not a lot of movement in the air at times. So it's just kind of gives you the AQI, the air quality index, over 100. So when that happens, a lot of the pollutants get trapped when it's this warm. So asthmatics and people with heart conditions will be more impacted.
Okay, because we hear this all the time. And like I remember in years past, right, we had air quality alerts because it was smoke from the wildfires.
Last summer we had them a lot. Yeah. Oh boy, last summer that one day, in the morning it'd be like, oh, the AQI is 30, and then I do the weather and be like 110. And so it's not the smoke. This is just the heat and sometimes the pollutants that you have to deal with.
The heat and the stagnant air. All right, very good. Thank you. Let's see here. Somebody else had a good idea. Oh, Peter was saying, don't forget about the people who work in restaurant kitchens. Heat from ovens, fryers. It can get really toasty. Jason said it's pretty comfortable in Springville right now.
Yeah, you know what? It's a nice start across southern tier. They were still in the 60s. I was in Mayville on Saturday, and it was beautiful.
Good. That's nice. Tina says she's heard parboiled carrots in chicken broth and then freeze. You can make a popsicle. That's great.
There you go.
Joy's talking about the Pedialyte. We're talking about Gatorade and Pedialyte.
Yeah. You know what? It's not just Gatorade. You could get, I fill my bottle with the electrolytes and the water because you just will sweat so much. I actually started taking salt tabs as I'm riding my bike because you can really feel that heat. And this is the hottest it's been since, the start of the year. So there are many options besides just water. If you're out and you're sweating a ton, definitely need to replace those salts. So electrolytes, Pedialyte, like I said, those salt tabs, they're really inexpensive. And they actually taste really good, surprisingly.
Do they taste like salt?
No, I got the coconut kind, which, I'm a big fan.
Okay.
So I'm like, to me, it tastes like summer.
Interesting. Tastes like summer. Kathy says they've got horses. She says our horses are in the barn during the day. The fans are running, cooler inside during the day, and then they're turned out in the evening. to go enjoy the cooler
Oh, that's
temperatures.
smart, Kathy.
How
Yeah,
about
I
that?
mean, yeah, I can imagine how hot they would be.
Yeah. Kim is asking, is it humidity too?
Yes, the humidity is very high. Dew points are in the 70s. So this air mass is very tropical. Basically, it's coming from the Gulf of Mexico.
Mhm.
So we're going to be dealing with the heat and the humidity. Maybe an inland shower storm will pop up away from the lake. You'll start to see those big cumulus clouds develop inland away from Lake Erie. Slight chance for a shower, thunder shower across Cattaraugus County and Allegheny County.
Jeanette is wondering where you got your salt tabs.
Amazon.
Amazon.
I never.
What can you not get on
Yeah,
Amazon?
like I did do a lot of research though, Jeanette, if you're asking. So because I follow all these different triathlon pages,
Yeah.
and they said these are the ones to get, so I did, and they're white and they're chewable because I can't swallow pills. So
It's like working with children. You have no
yes,
idea, you
the
guys.
big children. So so I got the chewable ones, and then you drink like every 30 minutes. I mean, if you're cutting the lawn, you're just sweating a ton.
Yeah.
And like these are mistakes I've learned because I didn't have them in the past, and now I use them, and I
Yeah.
have not been dehydrated since, so that's good.
Hey, John, can you just pull up, if people are in the city of Buffalo, let's just pull up those the cooling shelters. Oh my God, you hear how I almost said warming shelters? Because I'm so used to saying that in the
really.
winter.
Yeah.
But they've got cooling shelters open for people. So kind of hard to see here. We threw it on our website, though. Don't worry. Some of them are open starting today. If you want to go to one of these, do make sure you check it on our website. Here's the reason why. A, yes, it's hard to read here. But B, they have some funky hours because some are closed on Wednesday. Wednesday's Juneteenth. So you just need to make sure, I don't want to send you to one that is closed, right? And you're
Yeah,
like, oh, Katie
Sure.
said to go
I
here.
mean, Wednesday's going to be really warm too because you want to go to one.
Yeah, so just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. There are a number of these cooling centers that are open for you. You just got to double check the hours and the days. Boy, I'll tell you what.
What's that?
It's just been a busy morning between that fire that, you know what, let's show you that one more time in case you're just getting with us, because I see we've got about 330 people with us right now. There was this fire this morning. This video was given to us from someone at the scene who was there in the Allentown area, and Adam interviewed him this morning. So this is at the Old Pink. This is on Allen in the Allentown neighborhood, super popular bar right at Mariner. If you've ever been out in Allentown, chances are you swung by the Old Pink. And
Probably after around 2 a.m.
yeah, it was a popular night spot. So right now, Allen is still closed. What was his first street? Hudson to Elmwood.
Hudson to Elmwood.
That's a
that
big-
whole block is
That's
closed.
a big chunk.
Well, the last time we saw, the firefighters were still on that extended
Mhm.
ladder, putting water on hot spots.
Yeah.
We did hear that the other buildings did not sustain damage, and there were no accidents, right? Or no injuries.
No injury.
right?
Yep. So that's always good.
That's some good news. Unfortunately, the building is not going to fare well, as it was pretty much engulfed in flames around 6 a.m.
And Adam was saying, yeah, they've got crews, at the scene, like you were mentioning, still putting water on the fire. And then once that's done, they'll start their investigation if they haven't already. Just try to figure out what caused it, of course. But yeah, that's a busy area. Keep that in mind. If it's part of your morning commute, you're probably going to be a little held up there.
Yeah, you'll be running into that. So we had the two big stories today, of course, that fire and the heat. And one of those things we were talking about, that it's kind of, if you're just joining us, Buffalo, a lot of you know this, that we've never hit 100 degrees.
Right.
It's 99. I believe it was August 27th, 1948. So that was the day it was 99.
When it was 99, okay.
And we did hit 98 a couple of years ago. But Buffalo, Tampa, Naples, Florida, Key West have never hit 100. Miami and Fort Lauderdale have done it one time.
And you said if you were a betting man before, what do you think? We getting close to that?
It's not a 0% chance.
Okay.
I mean, it's never happened since we've kept records. I'm sure
Okay.
it's happened at some point, but records go back to the 1870s. So you never know. The ground's getting pretty dry, and will allow temperatures to get even warmer. So it's going to be a very hot and humid air mass in place for the next several days. Even if the thermometer doesn't say 100, some of the bank thermometers will, because they're right over the pavement. So
Yeah.
you'll see that. But the official thermometer at the airport will top out around 93, 94 degrees
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But the heat indices will be close to 100.
All right. So guys, stay with us. Make sure you're staying cool. Drink the water. I know we all know this, right? But drink the water.
It's good to be reminded.
Check on the people you got to check on. Keep the sunscreen with you and make a plan to stay cool, get in the AC. We'll be back here for you tomorrow. Someone asked where Ed was. He's just off for the week, but you've got Aaron and I.
Yeah, we'll be talking heat all week.
Thank goodness you'll be with us. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.